Today, I want to talk to you about why you are not getting interviews, and it's not likely what you think. A lot of job seekers are in this endless loop of apply, wait, get rejected, apply, wait, get rejected, and they think it's because of their resume. And so they go back and they keep reiterating your resume and keep tailoring it and keep spending time trying to beat the ATS, etc. If this all resonates, let me know in the comments. This loop is for crazy making. You feel crazy after a while if you keep tweaking your resume, keep applying, keep getting rejected, and you are in this endless loop. So I want to talk to you today about why this is happening and how you need to change your strategy to actually start landing interviews. So as a review, the fundamentals of getting a job is getting into interviews. That's the main goal. You need to get into interviews, and then once you get in interviews, you need to get good at interviewing to land a job. Now, that might sound obvious, but it's not necessarily obvious to everyone. So I want you to take away today the ways that you need to make changes in your job search so you start moving the needle and you start spending time on the things that actually put you into interviews and then move you through the interview process. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie. I am a job search coach for folks in tech. If you're currently job searching and you're stuck, you can join my community, Job Search OS, where I am in there daily coaching people. We just had someone land a job in 6 weeks, someone else in 8 weeks. I got 2 offers. So the whole methodology is in there. Today, I want to focus on one thing, helping you get more interviews. So, as I mentioned, this endless cycle of apply, wait, get rejected, go back to iterating on your resume is really, really ineffective. So, the methodology that I teach is has helped people 8 to 10x their conversion rate, meaning they're getting 8 to 10x more interviews than if they were just doing this common cycle of continuously tailoring and finicking with their resume and applying. So, applying just on the job boards, well, number one, most of my clients that I've worked with have never even applied to the job, right? So if you watch my last video, 200 of plus of my clients that I've worked with over the last decade were just doing this one methodology, which is to reach out to hiring managers directly. They were not even applying unless they were asked to apply to the job. So when you apply to a job, you are competing with the masses. You're just competing with everyone else who is doing the same thing as you, which is the majority of job seekers. So you need to find a way to get into the side door. This analogy that I like, which is, there's multiple ways to get into the club. You can stand in line, the long line that wraps around the building. You can get to the bouncer. The bouncer has to pass you through. You have to pay, et cetera, et cetera. But there's some people who are VIP who are getting in the side, or some people are climbing onto the roof and getting in. So you have to figure out another way to stand out, but not only stand out, but to get the right person's attention. And the right person is actually the hiring manager. It's not necessarily the recruiter. The recruiter works for the hiring manager, and the hiring manager is the decision maker. So the strategy that I teach is actually essentially a sales campaign to the hiring managers, where you are pitching yourself with an optimized template that we have in the community that you use, and you do this at personalization at scale, where you personalize it to the hiring manager and their company, but you do it at scale. So I teach you how to do that quickly, so you're not spending time thinking too hard about what to write to them. And you do that in addition to applying, because you basically, what you're doing is you're raising your hand and you're saying, I'm interested and I'm qualified and I'm going to slip into your inbox, and you're helping them out because they have a problem. They need to hire, and they need to hire quickly, and hiring is costly and time consuming, and they need to do that on top of their daily job, right? So it is actually helpful if you reach out to them directly, and you do this with a follow-up sequence that is very, very much designed and has a high conversion, because there's basically sales psychology behind the messaging. So you need to also do the follow-ups, because a lot of responses come after the follow-up, because people are busy, as we all know. Now, some people might cringe at this idea of reaching out directly to people. They might be scared. They might think, oh, am I being pushy? This is how business gets done. Like, the way, if you work in tech and you work in SaaS, any of that, the way your product is being sold is exactly this process. This is a sales process. People are reaching out to decision makers all day long. Like, decision makers are getting emails all day long, getting pitched, etc. So it is totally normal to do cold outreach. It's even better if it's warm outreach. It's even better if you have a network connection, or if you are getting referral. All of that is always helpful, but it is also helpful to do cold outreach because you will then get moved to the top of the stack. Now, if a hiring manager responds and says talk to the recruiter, now you're definitely going to have a conversation with the recruiter because you're essentially getting an internal referral from the decision maker. Decision maker saying, "Hey, recruiter, this person is interested. Talk to them." So all of that helps break that loop, right? So you need to be strategic. You need to have a outreach system and cadence that gets you converted into interviews so you can have this pipeline that you're building, have continuous interviews coming down your pipeline to then get multiple offers. We got to break the cycle of just waiting around. Your resume is not the problem. This is another thing you should know about most of my clients. So number one, most of them didn't even start by applying to the job as the number one tactic. They did the outreach first. Number two is they didn't attach a resume to the email or anything like that. They often would just use the resume if it was requested. If they were requested to apply, they would apply and they have a resume ready. They had one master resume that was optimized to the target role that they are targeting. We basically optimize your resume, optimize your LinkedIn, and then we focus entirely on getting into interviews. The tailoring, okay, maybe have 1 to 2 max copies of your resume or versions of your resume, but I don't personally believe in tailoring it every single time. I think it's a waste of time. I know there's AI tools out there that help you speed all that up, and sure, there's some data that shows that it helps. But for your actual time in your job search, the goal is to get into interviews. So you need to be spending time doing cold outreach, doing warm outreach, and systematically converting into interviews quickly. So people really spin out on their resumes and really once it can only get optimized to a certain degree. So once you have it optimized, just let it be your marketing campaign and use it only if they ask for it, honestly, or only if you apply. But mainly do this outreach because it has a much higher conversion and you'll put yourself into the market and get actual human data points about what's working in your search, what's working about your messaging, what's working about your profile. Do you need to tweak any of that? And honestly, people will see you on LinkedIn first anyway. So you want to make sure once you have your resume created, that's the master resume, you want to then make sure your LinkedIn is matching it and is optimized in the way that LinkedIn can be optimized because the algorithm, you want it to work in your favor. People will see you on LinkedIn likely before they see your resume, to be honest. So I do have people link their LinkedIn profile in their emails when they do the outreach, so people can go check out your profile, but no resume attached, none of that. Just a really concise pitch. And it's in the sales sort of psychology framework of you, me, us. So if you don't know what that is, you got to come join my community and I can teach you what that's about. But it's basically, hey, I'm interested in you. This is me really quick. These are the highlights. And this is what we could do together if you hired me. So the template is laid out in that format if you're curious. But it is so, so important that you start breaking this loop of applying and just waiting around and then tweaking your resume and then applying and waiting around and all of that, because that is going to drive you nuts. You got to do a strategic campaign towards hiring managers. And when you start doing this, things will change for you. You will start understanding what's working. You start getting more interviews. You start honing in on your pitch. Will start converting and slowly moving through the interview pipeline. And hopefully it will help you if you're doing this. If you're doing this with me, I'm going to have you be really data driven and track all of it in a tracker so we can really start understanding where are you getting traction, where are you not, where is it worth spending more time, where is it worth spending no time, and what is the market saying about what's working so we can double down on that, and where is it not working so we can stop doing that. Job searching is a full-time job. I mean, that anecdote is real. You have to be consistent, you have to be focused, you have to put in the hard work, even in my process, but you want to be data driven and you want to understand where things are converting and and not just go by feelings, because your feelings can really drive you. You can really go places and spend time in places that you don't need to spend time. You want to just really put energy into the places that are working so you can really move the needle faster and compress your time to an offer to 1 to 2 months instead of 6 to 9 months or a year or whatever it may be, that how long you've been on the market. So if you feel like the job search is driving you crazy, if you feel like the common advice out there, the common way to job search is not working, try this methodology. come join our community. I break it down step by step on how to get set up, how to optimize LinkedIn before you get started, and then how you launch an email campaign systematically and how you track all of that to then understand what's working in your search. And then we get, once you have this funnel, this sort of like pipeline of interviews coming consistently, you know how to do that. Then it gets into interviewing and how to master your narrative, what to highlight, etc. And that, you can keep going. And but the more you interview, the better you get at it and the better you understand what questions you get, etc. So you want to be data driven about every single part of the process. And it really starts with breaking this loop and putting energy into the actions that actually move the needle in your job search. So volume is important, but strategic outreach is important specifically to convert into more interviews. So, as I said, if you are currently job searching and really feeling stuck and you want to try something different, come join us in our community, Job Search RS. It's really where I hang out daily and where I can help you at every single part of your job search process. But if anything, if the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this video is that the common way of job searching is dead. It doesn't work. Applying and waiting and competing with hundreds of thousands of people for the same role. Getting lost in the ATS is a black hole. Just applying is a black hole. It doesn't work. You have to stand out. You have to raise your hand and pitch yourself directly to hiring managers. And every single part of that process, I break down in my community. How to find the hiring manager, how to find their email, what email template to send to them, how often you should email them, when to send a follow up. All of that is written out. And we get into that in the community. It really, really, really helps. As I mentioned, I've had 2 people in my community just in the last month get offers 6 weeks from when they joined and 8 weeks from when they joined. The person who got a job 8 weeks, she had got to 4 final round interviews. She got 2 offers, leveraged one to get the other, and it was just beautiful to see. And she was crushing it in her numbers. She was crushing it with the system. She just stayed consistent the whole time, no matter what happened, because it is a roller coaster and things will, wild things can happen in the job search streets. So you have to just stay level headed and trust the process and continue to do the process. All right. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. I drop a new video on job search tips every single week. So would love to have you in the community. If you want to try out this email sequence campaign to hiring managers, let me know in the comments. But the best way to do that is to join. So I'll see you inside.